Recording. All right. So if you have a question while we go through this, just kind of like raise your hand and I'll unmute you. I muted everyone because there's a lot of background noise. All right. All right. So most of you should have this. I think it's actually in the event too. So if you don't have it, let me know and I'll get it to you. This is the ebook that goes along with this seminar. Obviously, this was supposed to be in person, but because of the wonderful COVID-19, we're doing it here from the comfort of our couches, which Shauna seems like she might appreciate. So, we're gonna spin this a little differently because of everything that's going on, and I've been getting a lot of questions and comments about how to not eat your entire house and home while you're home all day, because that seems to be the growing phenomenon in the world today. So let's take off my glasses because I hate that glare. So the goal of this is to really help you make more informed decisions when you go into the grocery store. So the problem with food labels and the food industry in general is there's really no regulation. So you have the FDA, but they don't really regulate what companies put on food labels. So you remember, like, years ago, I was in college in 2009 when this happened, and it was like net carbs were the big thing because of the Atkins diet. So I'll never forget, I was in a diabetes education seminar that I was hosting being an intern, and somebody worked for Breyers or the food company who does those labels, and he said that, you know, they know that what they're posting is misinformation and they get fined for it, because a lot of companies take away the sugar alcohols in food labels to do the net carbs. So you have carbs, you have fiber, then you have sugar alcohols. A lot of the companies are subtracting the sugar alcohols and giving you less net carbs, which is not what you're supposed to do. But they do it because they get fined, but that fine is so minute compared to the profit of that product because it only has 1 or 2 net carbs. So, you know, if you've been around me long enough, you know that I always say, like, if you're going to eat ice cream, eat ice cream. Like, don't get the low fat stuff. Don't get all that stuff, because if you can't pronounce what's in it, then it's not really ice cream. Like, ice cream is cream, milk, ice, and like some other stuff, right? Like, you shouldn't have all this crap in your ice cream that you really can't pronounce, right? So, you know, if you're getting like Rocky Road or cookies and cream and all that, it should have cookies in it, but like those cookies shouldn't have chemical names. It should say cookies or something, right? So, but when you're going into the low fat, the low carb, you know, the less sugar, all of that stuff, you're just getting chemicals. Like, so, like, just eat ice cream. It's better for you, right? And there's probably actually less calories per serving. All right, so, you know, food labels, they started in the 1960s, and, you know, which is pretty, you know, so if you know someone who's like really was like born and raised before the 1960s, like, they have a whole different concept on nutrition and everything like that, because food labels weren't even invented until 1960s. And even since then, you know, they've evolved to what we know now as the more modern food label, because our education and all that stuff and science and all that has gotten a little bit, has obviously gotten better, and we're able to research more. So, you know, and they're changing all the time. So what they put on it, what they don't put on it, changes all the time. That's because of new links in health and nutrition. And it's also for public health efforts to help people make healthier and more informed decisions. But I always say, you know, probably 7 out of 10 people don't even check the labels on the food. Maybe even 9 out of 10 people don't check the labels. How many of you check the labels on the food when you buy it in a grocery store? So, you know, that's, you know, it's not, so there's, you know, 2.5 people raise their hand out of, you know, how many people are on here. So, you know, so it's, you're just, you know, getting, especially if you have kids, you're really just getting what they'll eat, right? So it's, but there's a lot of stuff out there that, you know, can help you make, you know, more informed decisions over time. All right. So, can everyone see this? All right. So this is, you know, what a food label is like. So, you know, you have your ingredients, your serving size, the calories and macros, the things to eat, and then so you have your calories and macros, which are, your calories are up here, and then the cholesterol, sodium, and then total sugars is what you want to eat less of. And the protein and carbohydrates are listed. Get that better. Those are listed also. And then the nutrients with added benefits, the dietary fiber and the vitamins, which are on the bottom. So we're going to outline how and why like the scanning strategy works. So we're going to give you quick tips on how to figure out what is a beneficial product and what really has, is filled with gimmicks. So number one is ingredients. Okay, so how many ingredients does your product have? That's really the first thing. So food with a lot of ingredients are often highly processed. Processed foods often are less nutritious and are designed to be highly, they're supposed to be able to fill you up more, but they really don't. But you're going to have that full feeling. All right, so this can translate into eating more calories and less nutrition. So it's also important to know what each ingredient is, because I know most of you probably have heard of maltodextrin. So nobody really knows what that is, but it's really a filler and it's a byproduct and it's a chemical and it's in so much stuff. And if you have, sensitivities and all that other stuff, you might get something and be like, oh, this is fine, but there's maltodextrin in it, which your body really can't process. So many times unhealthy fats, like hydrogenated oils and added sugar can sneak into your food under different names, even though the nutrition panel shows 0 grams of them. So, and then you also have, so we have the top 10 ingredient offenders: artificial dyes and brighteners, which are, your blues, your reds, your titanium dioxide, your caramel color, your artificial flavors and enhancers, which are your yeast extract, hydrolyzed protein, MSG, and natural flavors. And then you have your artificial sweeteners like aspartame. And then your sugar is just a few to look out for. You have corn syrup, dextrose, fructose syrup, and high fructose corn syrup. Bleached flours or other processed flours, refined and processed oils, canola, corn, cottonseed, partially hydrogenated oils, soybean. And then you have preservatives. You have BHA, BHT, calcium propionate, and a bunch of other stuff. Sodium nitrate, sodium phosphate, most of this stuff, sodium benzoate, anything with like sodium or potassium in front of it is all preservatives. So thickeners and emulsifiers, this is where you have your lectin, your gums, your monoglycerides, your diglycerides, and then your dough conditioners, which are calcium peroxide, DATEM, and a bunch of other stuff you can't pronounce. Processed food supplements, soy protein isolate is a common highly processed genetically modified protein supplement many healthy or diet foods contain. So, if you're looking at a food label and you can't pronounce 75% of the stuff that's in it, you probably shouldn't be buying it. All right, so next is the serving size. And this is a huge thing because, how many people take a pint of ice cream and sit down on the couch and eat half of it? Well, that's so, that's not really a serving size. So if you actually ate a serving of ice cream, you would be sad. So you will eat more or less of the same amount, as the recommended serving. It's also helpful to look at the number of servings in the package. So the suggested serving size is the amount of food represented in the nutritional breakdown. So if you're eating 2 servings of something, you're actually eating double the calories. So you might have a package and it says it's only 100 calories, but that's only half a serving. So, and you actually have 1 serving, or that's 1 serving and you're actually having 2 servings. So you have to see what, if you're having 100 calories and the 100 calories is half a cup and you're having 2 cups of this, you can just do the simple math. That's a lot of calories, right? And this is how people are overeating and consuming too many calories. So this is important because we often eat more than the suggested serving size without ever realizing it, especially when it comes to ultra processed foods. So we're taking in a lot more calories than we realize. So, you want to realize how many calories are in a single serving or what you plan to eat. Because, you might plan to eat, or your meal plan, whatever, might have 1.5 servings. Then you have to realize how many calories that is. So there are no bad or good calories. It's a good idea to know the number, and that way you'll have an idea of what proportion of your overall daily fuel intake the food represents, especially when it's processed food, which often contain more calories and fewer healthy micronutrients. So note the proportion of fat, carbs, and proteins you're taking in so that you're eating in alignment with your goals. So, most of us, especially if you're coming to Bodies by Pilates, we want more protein, and then carbs, and then fat. That's how our meal plans are based around. So, but you still want carbs. So, the whole low carb thing is, that's Dr. Atkins died from his own diet because he hit the ground and he had no energy and he had a heart attack. So you want carbs because that's your energy system. So you can't, deplete yourself from carbs. And then when you're going to those low carb things, it's really when you get into all those ingredients that you can't explain because it's all these hidden fillers and they have all this fake sugar and all this other stuff in it. So, you also want to aim for less of the trans fats, added sugar, sodium, and more. It's no secret trans fats are linked to having a higher risk of developing heart disease. Eating too much added sugar is linked to insulin sensitivity. Too much sodium, high blood pressure. So if you keep a close eye on those top 10 ingredients offenders, then you'll be fine with that. So you want to aim, obviously, for more fiber, vitamins, and minerals. So fiber helps with digestion, and the vitamins and minerals help keep you in a good health while reducing your risk for issues such as osteoporosis, anemia, and it also helps combat your high blood pressure and all that stuff. So you want to check out the daily value percentages of fiber, potassium, vitamin D, calcium, and iron percentages, as well as the other daily values of other vitamins. So, some of your food that you're eating will have this, and then, like your meat and stuff, they don't always have a nutritional value on it, but sometimes it's in salad dressings and stuff with milk in it and stuff. Yogurt is a big one that has a lot of this stuff in it. We already talked about macros. All right, so for, so there's all these common labels on food. So cage-free eggs, what the heck does that mean? That just simply means the chickens were raised without cages. However, they could still be living indoors in overcrowded spaces. So that just means they get to roam free, and they don't live in a wired cage, but there could still be 5 million chickens where they are. So pasture raised, the animals spent some time outdoors feeding on grass or whatever they eat when they're outdoors. Grass fed, the animal's main source of food came from grass and not grains. This does not tell you if antibiotics or hormones were used on the animals or what conditions it lived in. So I say this all the time. Just because it's grass-fed beef doesn't mean it's any better, but you're paying a ton more money for it because nobody knows the difference. Okay? No antibiotics. This is basically just as it says, the animal was never fed antibiotics over the course of its life. It makes no claims over living conditions. So you could have chickens in cages with no antibiotics. No hormones. U.S. law prohibits the use of hormones on hogs and poultry. That's pig and chicken. So these labels claims are meaningless with these foods. With other animals, it simply means they were never given hormones, but does not indicate their living conditions. So my favorite thing nowadays is that the chicken packages say gluten-free. Of course, chicken is gluten-free, but someone that doesn't know anything and is like, oh, gluten-free is a healthy lifestyle, which it doesn't matter. As long as you're not allergic to gluten, freaking eat it. And it's like, of course chicken is gluten-free, but people who are uneducated are going to buy that because it says that, so it's just, it's a lot of, it's a lot of misleading information for people to buy, and then that's how they upsell the prices. So how foods earn the organic label. This is another big misconception. So produce, crops must be grown on soil that had no prohibited substances, meaning synthetic fertilizers and pesticides applied for the past 3 years. So like organic bananas don't really matter because you're taking the skin off, right? Organic oranges. So anything that you're taking the skin off, you don't need to buy organic because it has to do with the soil. And like oranges grow on a tree. So it doesn't matter. So meat and dairy, the animals must be raised according to the natural living conditions, like being free range and able to graze. They must not be given hormones or antibiotics, and they must be fed organic feed and forage. So, meat and dairy might be a little bit more important to have. Organic really depends, but, so the reason why that's more expensive is because most cows don't live on a free range because there's, a farmer wants a lot of them, right? So packaged and processed foods, items must not contain artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. Ingredients must be organic. Although approved, non-organic items may be added, such as enzymes in yogurt or baking soda in baked goods. So, that's why I preach all the time, organic really doesn't, make a difference, except for meat if you want to go that route, but everything else, you're washing your fruit anyway, so what's the difference? All right, the front label claims on food products are more than just marketing. Here's what they actually mean according to the US guidelines. Calorie free, less than 5 calories per serving. Excellent source of, provides at least 20% of the daily value. How is that excellent? Fat-free, sugar-free, less than half a gram of fat or sugar per serving. A good source of, provides at least 10% to 19% of the daily value. High in, provides 20% or more of daily value. Low calorie is 40 or less. Low cholesterol is 20 milligrams or less. Low sodium is 140 milligrams or less. And reduced product contains 25% less in the specified nutrient than the amount in the regular version of the product. So reduced fat, 25%. Now it can only have 75% fat instead of 100%. So, that's why like the reduced fat stuff really isn't the greatest stuff in the world, because it's not really that much different than the regular stuff. So, you really just want to be able to do, a 10-second, label scan and, really look at the ingredients. I always say, between 5 and 10 is probably the best, unless you're really going to get very strict and start eating, meat and vegetables and stuff that's without a package. The golden rule is only scan the outside of the grocery stores. Don't go inside the aisles, and you'll have a very healthy lifestyle and a very healthy nutrition plan. But we know that some of that's not very possible, olive oil, all that stuff's on the inside. But for your general grocery shopping should be done on the perimeter of the grocery store. So you're going into the fruits and vegetables, you're going back to the meat, you're coming up to the dairy. All right, just skip the ice cream, because it depends on what store you're in. That's still in the perimeter of the grocery store. All right. So so now let's get into a little bit of, does anybody have any questions before I go into how to not eat your house and home while you're home all day? No questions? Okay, great. So, I talked about a little bit on Friday on the live that I did. And, I've got a lot of questions like, I'm home all day. How the hell do let's get out of the refrigerator? So the big thing is that, even though most of us are home right now, we're not working, we're not going to work, still act like it's like a normal day, right? So you still want to act like you're going to work, you're leaving the house, and meal plan. So meal prep your food still, just like you would if you're working normally. Put it right there. Okay, great. Oh, you're making a mess.
Not my problem.
Oh boy. All right. So, sorry guys, I'm getting coffee and Bloody Marys delivered to me. Dad, are you jealous? All right. So, so anyway, so still meal plan. Like, get your, on Sunday night, get all your stuff out, meal plan your food, get it all prepared, your snacks, whatever you're going to eat all day, because now you're home. Like, put your snacks in a little baggie and put all your food together, and that's all you eat. Right? Or at least do that and eat that food. And then if you're eating anything else, it's not as bad, but you're not sitting on a couch with your hand in a bag of potato chips. All right. Or, you're not sitting on a couch with your, eating all the Oreos. Kathy, do you feel guilty right now? So and it's tough because even, even if you're retired and you're home most of the time, but now you're social distancing yourself. You're not going out in public. So you're sitting at home more and you're bored, right? So this is another thing, like find something to do, find an activity. There's like that meme on Facebook, like I'm either going to be 20 pounds lighter, have 20 perfect arts and crafts projects done after this whole social distancing thing, or I'm going to be 20 pounds heavier with a drinking problem. So, it's all depends on, what, like how you see. And I know life has been crazy, and I keep telling people, come Monday, so tomorrow, I think everything's it's not that it's going to settle down, but we're going to be able to get to kind of used to our new normal for a little bit. So the kids are coming off at spring break if you have the kids. So you got to start homeschooling them, which is crazy. But, it's been a little bit that everybody can now get used to this. It's only essential workers out there. So start tonight. So it's Sunday morning at 10:30. So start tonight, get all your Tupperware out, meal prep, and, set that food aside, set those almonds aside, and set your, if you're going to eat potato chips, eat potato chips. Life is stressful right now. So, but don't eat just to eat, okay? Because you've finally broken all those habits, and you're not going to be able to get back. It's going to be harder to get back on the wagon when this is all over if you fall off of it as much as, some of you are. I don't know what the heck she did to mine. All right. So, and have some Bloody Marys. They're good for you. There's vegetables in there. So, and the other thing is that, I see a lot of people, there's this whole Facebook group, like Ulster Eateries, right? I'm all about supporting local. We've been out to dinner Friday and Saturday night. That's our kind of contribution. We're going to eat out Friday and Saturday night. Just because you want to support local, you're home all day, does not mean you need to eat out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A, you're going to be broke as a joke by the time this is over. And B, you're going to be 100 pounds heavier. So you don't need to, you can support local businesses and all of that stuff, but it doesn't mean you need to eat out. There's other ways to do it. You can buy gift certificates. You can do things like that. You don't need to feel obligated to eat out every single meal. All right. And just because you're home all day and you're bored and now you don't want to cook, doesn't mean that you need to, still eat out every single meal. You can still, it's why you're meal prepping. So we have a menu board downstairs in the kitchen. We already have every single meal set up for this week. It's on the board, the ingredients, everything's in the house to make it. That's what gets cooked. So, plan out your week and what you're going to have. You're home all day, plan out what you're going to have for lunch and dinner. All right. Obviously, life is a little bit different right now, but you don't want to be going at 2:00 in the afternoon, ravishing through the refrigerator because you're starving because you haven't eaten all day, and now you're eating everything besides a normal lunch. All right. Does anybody have questions on that? You can unmute yourself if you have questions. Maritza, are you taking notes or are you writing your grocery list?
Writing my grocery list at the same time, taking notes.
Oh, all right. You're a brave person to go to the grocery store today. All right. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? No, we're all very quiet. All right. I'm going to turn off the